Welcome, everyone. I want you to forget about all that expensive, high-tech survival gear for a moment. Today, we're going to build a real, practical disaster preparedness guide using simple, affordable items you can find just about anywhere. Let's get started. So let me ask you a question. When a disaster actually strikes, what's really the most important thing to have? You might think it's all the fancy gadgets and expensive equipment, right? Well, the real answer might just surprise you. It's so easy to get caught up in the fantasy of it all. People spend thousands on tactical backpacks and specialized gear, but they often completely forget about the 50-cent lighter or the simple water purification tablet. Real survival isn't about looking cool. It's about solving the most basic, fundamental problems with essential items that, frankly, aren't very glamorous at all. So, here's our game plan. We've broken this down into 5 simple steps. We'll cover the critical first 72 hours, the life-saving trio of supplies, basic health and sanitation, essential multi-tools, and finally, a readiness strategy for your entire family. Our journey begins with what is arguably the most crucial concept in all of preparedness, the 72-hour window. This is that immediate period right after a disaster hits, when you are almost certainly on your own, long before any organized help can possibly arrive. 72 hours, 3 days. I want you to think of that as your deadline for being completely self-sufficient. This is a hard biological limit. Without key resources during this time, especially water, survival rates absolutely plummet. This is the time frame that our entire plan is built around. So, how do you actually prepare for those 72 hours? We're going to focus on what I call the life-saving trio. These are the 3 absolute non-negotiable priorities for survival. Everything else, it comes second. And the undisputed #1 priority, clean water. It's not food, it's not shelter, it's not even security. It's water. This is the single most important factor for making it through those first 72 hours. And the biology behind this is pretty brutal. This isn't an exaggeration. In just 3 days without water, your kidneys can actually begin to shut down. Your body is over 60% water, and literally every single function, from thinking clearly to moving your muscles, completely depends on it. Now, this doesn't mean you have to go out and hoard hundreds of gallons of bottled water. That's just not efficient. The much smarter move is to focus on purification. A simple gravity filter can make thousands of gallons of questionable water perfectly safe to drink, with 0 electricity. As a backup, purification tablets or even a few drops of unscented bleach are incredibly cheap and effective insurance. Okay, priority #2 is a reliable source of fire. Fire is so much more than just warmth. It's a powerhouse tool that boils water to make it safe, cooks food, provides light, and offers a massive psychological boost when things feel dark and cold. And again, the focus here is on what's cheap and effective. A single Bic lighter is an engineering marvel that gives you about 3,000 chances to make a fire. Back that up with a ferro rod, which works even when it's wet, and some storm-proof matches. The key is redundancy. Keep them in different places, in your car, in your house, in your bag. The final piece of our life-saving trio is about protecting the very air you breathe. A lot of the time, the most dangerous threats are the ones you can't even see. Things like smoke, airborne viruses, or dust from a collapsed building. This is why having N95 masks is absolutely non-negotiable. A simple cloth mask just isn't going to cut it. An N95 can filter out 95% of microscopic particles. And if you need any proof of their value, just think back to how fast they vanished from store shelves during the last health crisis. By the time you truly need them, they'll be gone. Stashing a box of them now is one of the smartest moves you can possibly make. All right, with the life-saving trio covered, let's move to the next layer of our preparedness pyramid, basic health and sanitation. Once your immediate survival is secured, preventing illness becomes the top priority. When infrastructure goes down, disease can spread like wildfire. I want you to think of these 4 items as your sanitation shield. Bleach is your chemical hammer for disinfecting surfaces. Bar soap is more shelf-stable and lasts longer than liquid. Pain relievers are essential for staying functional. And yes, toilet paper. It might seem trivial, but it's huge for both sanitation and morale, which, it turns out, is more important than you think. Now let's talk about tools. These are the items that shift you from just passively surviving to actively solving problems. This is the stuff that lets you repair, build, and function when nothing is working the way it should. The key here is versatility. You're going to want batteries in all the major sizes. For flashlights, quantity beats quality. A cheap flashlight in every room is way better than one expensive one. Duct tape and strong cordage can fix almost anything. And heavy-duty trash bags, they're the ultimate multi-tool. They can be a poncho, a ground cover, a water container, and so much more. Okay, so we've covered what you need, but how do you actually build this supply without getting totally overwhelmed or breaking the bank? Let's get into the practical strategy that pulls this all together for your family. Here is a super simple, actionable plan. Each month when you do your regular shopping, just add a couple of items from the list. Start with the top priorities: a water filter, lighters, masks. Next month, grab a health item like soap, then a tool like a pack of batteries. Slowly but surely and affordably, you'll build a really robust supply. So where do you put all this stuff? You don't need a special bunker. Just use airtight bins that can slide under a bed or stack in a closet. The goal is to keep everything cool, dry, and dark to maximize shelf life. And make sure to group similar items together and label everything clearly. In an emergency, you won't have time to go searching for things. Now, keeping your supplies fresh is crucial. This isn't a one-and-done task. Set a reminder in your calendar. Every 3 months or so, test your batteries to make sure they still hold a charge. Every 6 months, check the expiration dates on any medications. And every year, swap out things like bleach that lose their potency over time. And to make all of this incredibly easy, here is your master checklist. Use a simple table just like this one. Every month, you can track what you've bought and note any expiration dates. This turns what feels like a big, scary concept into a simple, manageable routine for the whole family. Let's wrap up with this one final thought. The best survival plan is the one you put in place before you ever need it. It's the small, consistent efforts you make now, when things are calm, that provide incredible security for tomorrow. Don't wait until you need a plan to finally make one.